Okay, welcome back again to another video. This is the third time I've done this video, and the first time the battery was dead. The second time, I don't remember. The battery's been dead twice. So we're going to give it another shot here. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to do a neck reset using a different technique. This is what I would call the neck press technique. And you can go buy this thing from Stuart McDonald and the other luthier companies that goes around the guitar and puts pressure on here, and it'll push the neck out. And that's great if you want to go spend the money, and if you have a space on your wall to hang this specialty tool. There's a couple things I don't like about those tools, and that is that they block the entire upper bout right here. So if you have a problem with steam or something just isn't going right, they can be a little tricky to get off, and they're just cumbersome, take up a lot of space. So I'm going to show you a different technique, and we'll just cut to the chase right now so you can see how it's done, and then you can watch the actual process in real live time if you want to. I've got my steam, what's this called, a steam cooker? Pressure cooker over here. It's been in some of my other videos. Some of this information will be repeated a couple times in other videos, but that's okay, because if you're stepping into this video for the first time, you may not have seen some of this stuff. So I use a pressure cooker rather than an espresso machine or a heat needle or anything like that, just because it works for me. I get a constant supply of steam. I can regulate it. I can pull it in and out of the guitar. It just works for me. Okay, so the technique that we're going to use here as a preview is basically you take a block of wood or whatever you want. It doesn't hurt if you put a cork pad on here. I don't have one on here. They're not going to put that much pressure on it. So you could use this. This has a cork pad on it. This one's kind of curved to fit over a popsicle bracelet, so that's why I don't use this one. But you can certainly pad this up as well as you want to. I've never had a single problem with it scratching the guitar or anything like that. And the cork pad's probably going to take some of the down pressure we're going to do. So basically, the way I used to do neck resets, and I still do sometimes, is to steam it and then wiggle the neck until it comes loose. Here's my hand. You wiggle the neck and you do that. But I discovered this technique when I was taking the neck off of a guitar that had a broken neck. So what we had was the heel was left in there. There's nothing to wiggle. So I tried this out, and I was really impressed with the way it worked. So I started using it, more and more. It's almost the standard way I pull a neck now. And we'll talk about that as we're doing it. But basically, take a block of wood, put some kind of weight on the guitar to hold it on your bench. You put this block of wood under the heel, right there, just under the heel. It's got to be big enough that the bout doesn't touch. So this one's going to go up like this. Actually, I know this isn't the piece I normally use. Let me get the piece I normally use. It's this one. It's square. I thought I would use this because it doesn't have the sandpaper on it, which some of you might panic at. But I just put it under like that. Set the guitar up there. Put some weight on it. And then you get yourself these clamps. You put them right here. And you put it on the rim of the guitar. Meaning right here on the rim. Not out on the top. Nothing like that. Just put a little pressure on it. Come over here. You kind of got to make sure your clamps aren't being forced into any position or anything, or they'll slip. And there you go. And then what happens is you put a little bit more pressure on it, and the neck pops up as you steam it. That's the quick and dirty way to do this. So if you want to stop right here, you can stop right here. Otherwise, we're going to pull this neck in real time right now. And I will tell you something. This is my neck reset. I just did the reset on this guitar and I didn't give it enough neck angle. This is one of those necks that lied to me. And the reason it lied to me is because I trimmed up the front here and I pulled the neck upwards like this with the strings. And when I did that, it gave it more angle than I was expecting, or not enough angle. So we're going to pop it off real quick here and do some more to it. It's no big deal. I probably have to take one in every 10, maybe. After I've reset it the first time, I'm not happy with it for some reason or another. And I'll just go ahead and take the neck off and do it again. The glue isn't really totally dry yet. You know, it's not like it's been crystallizing for 15 years or anything. So it's going to come off actually pretty easy. I could probably pull this one off by hand really easy. But I want to show you this technique. So, from scratch, I'm taking all the strings off. I have already measured the action. I've already determined how much I'm going to take off the heel. I've already scored the heel so that I have a guideline to work with. And basically, right now, this straight edge runs down here and taps the bridge. And it needs to be probably about 100 thousandths of an inch proud. So my calculations tell me I need to take another 28 thousandths off the heel. Which is kind of a lot, but I did a lot the first time too. So I scored the heel here with 25 thousandths of an inch feeler gauge. Alright. Put this on. This one is a bubble wrap insulation. It will melt if it gets hot enough, but it just provides insulation. This one's cardboard with aluminum foil. This is the real heat reflector right here. The other one is more insulation for the top. I've got this kid's chain up here. Let me stick one down and show you. These are great. I stole these after my daughter grew up. And they are so good for hanging all this stuff from. So I'm going to hang my heat lamp. Again, this probably is not going to take too long. Heat that up. Get a little pan that's got some water in it. Get my spatula. Spatula. And this is going to be to loosen the fingerboard up. The water just kind of goes in there and makes the glue come apart easier. I used fish glue on this, and so it's going to come apart pretty easily because, like I said, it hasn't fully cured yet. Fish glue takes about 24 to 48 hours to really set up, and it can take, I don't know how long because I don't live inside the guitar neck, but it can take a good long time to really crystallize and get hard to take apart. So I'm confident this one's going to come apart pretty easy. And that's why it's no big deal for me to go ahead and just take the neck off because it's not right now. God pays me money, it needs to be right. Or I'm not happy. He's not happy, I'm not happy. Okay, you let this set for a minute. And again, this is real time. Feel fast forward if you want to do that. I'm going to set this up aside for a minute. Make sure there's no moisture coming in here. I'm also going to open these holes up again. These are the holes that I used the first time. I'm just going to make sure they're clear. Like that. Get that out of the way. And then I've got a piece of guitar string around here somewhere that I use as a probe. Here it is. This is just a 56 guitar string. And I like to use it as a probe to make sure that is clear. This one is. See, that goes in easily. This one's stuck on something. Let's drill a little more. I don't remember there being anything in the way. And I doubt it'll be a problem. It's gonna come apart pretty easy. Yeah, it's still hitting there, but this one's good. It'll be alright. Put that on. Put that back on. Let it heat. Here, that's starting to boil. This has been on, the pressure cooker's been on for quite a while before this. Yeah, it's starting to get warm. Okay. Real time here. Sometimes people ask about my heat lamp. This is nothing more than a poultry warming lamp. You get it down at your local feed store, Tractor Supply. Order it on Amazon. Most good hardware stores will have them. You pick them up. It's got a 250 watt brooder lamp in it, which is too hot for the outlet, but I'm not going to burn it for very long. In other words, I'm not using it all night long, or anything's not going to burn anything up. But I am not responsible if you burn your house down. I've been using the same bulb probably since I started doing this, which has been 20 years. 22 years. This is 2002, isn't it? Yeah. 22 years I've been doing this. Let's see what it looks like. A little heat on it, a little moisture. No, it's not ready to come off yet. Not even. I'm gonna heat it some more. Now, a little trick you can use. If the steam is ready before this is, I can go ahead and inject some steam in it while the fingerboard is still attached, and let that heat and that moisture work while I take the fingerboard off. So there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'll probably show you that right now. Let's see how the steam's doing. Steam's blasting away. So, let's just do this. Turn this off. Set it back up there, set these out of the way. Take my steam, here's my steam needle, pop it in there. It's hung up on something. There we go. Give it some steam for a little bit. Let that work while we do the rest of it. I got the neck on there snug though. Stop that about right there. Put some on this side. I want to see it coming out the other side here. When the steam comes out both holes, and you know it's going around inside the joint. It's not quite doing that yet. Doing it this way, I'll also force a little steam into here. Helps things. Getting good steam. Where that's not going down in the You don't want to force the needle down, or you'll force wood up into the tip. And there we go. Now I got some steam coming out down the joint. Okay. There's steam coming out down the bottom, so I know this joint is pretty well full of steam. Give this one a shot. Yeah, there it comes. Now it's coming out right here. Now I know it's going all the way down through the joint. Everything looks good. Woo, yep, there it is. Okay, now, let that work while we do this. That's not a bad technique, all in its own, you know. You can use a lot less steam that way. So in other words, you can start your steam process. Anytime you want to do an neck reset, you can go ahead and pop some steam in there while you do this. As a matter of course. Nothing wrong with that. That heat will be in that joint and it'll start working on the glue. Probably takes a lot less steam and a lot less heat to do it that way. Most times I get neck off pretty quick anyway, so it's not a big deal. But there's nothing wrong with that. So we're going to heat this up. Actually, I like it better the first place. Right there. Heating that. I'm not even sure I'm going to need any more steam. Let's see. Okay, neck resets. Nothing else to say about them right now. We're just going to watch this heat up. This is really exciting. This is like watching paint dry. So, but I always want to show you these techniques in real time so that you know how long it takes. You might never do this yourself, but maybe it gives you a better understanding of what the process is. So when you take your guitar in for a neck reset, you can ask intelligent questions. You can see if the guy did a good job and things like that. It's always fun to see it in real time. When I first started, I got all the Stu Mac videos and they're on VHS tape, you know, so that was a long time ago. And sometimes they were great, but sometimes they would cut the process, and so I was never sure how long does this take, you know. And I would think, oh God, I ought to be done by now. Well, not, you know, it's a 20-minute process, and I'd get panicky after 3 minutes. So that's the value of showing you the entire length of time that it takes. And you can always fast forward, you can skip the sections, you can do that kind of thing, you know, easily here on YouTube. This is where I play mandolin, but I don't have one out in the shop right now. And you really only get down like 1A section before you have to come check it. Yeah, it's got some temperature on it now. Put a little water. Oh yeah. Whoosh! Came off. Okay. So the neck doesn't fall off while I'm doing this. I really want to show you this. Okay, we're going to put that on there, make sure the bench is relatively clear of junk. Get that out of the way. Pop that on. Clamp. And again, you let the clamps find their own position. I like to go about a finger's width out from the rim so the clamps are not right up against there. Put a little pressure. Not much. Okay, here we go. We're going to steam. One thing you want to do, you want to hold on to the neck, because sometimes they come off fast and they hit the ground. I've never had one hit the ground. But you want to hold on to that neck with one hand at all times. I'm going to pop some steam in here. Got my little towel ready. Wipe up. Still got steam. There. What you want to do is watch this joint right here, and when the neck starts to come, that's going to creep up. You can probably see it in the video. Okay, I'm going to put a little pressure. A little bit more pressure. And that's it. Let the steam work. Got a little moisture coming out right there. I'm going to wipe that up right now. Reach over here. Put some steam in that side. And this sucker's coming off right now. Okay? So, got that out of the way. Oops, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Put more pressure on it, relieve it. A little pressure, and you can see that gap increasing right here already. One thing you can do at this point is wiggle the neck a little. And there we go. Everything falls on the floor. I had the neck in my hand, the neck's off, and we're done. Okay? And now don't worry about the clamps. I mean, I know the clamps are going to hit the floor. It makes an awful noise. Big deal, you know? Okay. So the great thing about that technique, I don't know, you have more control. You know, I have a hold of the guitar. I'm pushing the thing straight up like this. I'm not wiggling around. I didn't damage any finish over here. Not that I normally do. But it's just a clean technique. And I have found it very, very useful with stubborn necks and necks that don't want to come off for some reason or another. You can put that moisture in there and you can leave it and let it work. Which is what we did on this one. You know, we steamed it from the beginning. Let it go to work. And when I was ready to actually press it, it had already gotten nice and warm and everything was ready to go. Now as soon as you get that neck off, I recommend cleaning it up while the glue is still nice and hot and moist and all that. And of course this is fish glue, which is basically a hide glue, and so it cleans up really, really well with warm water. And this is also my neck reset, so it's already pretty clean. It doesn't have that goopy tight bond kind of stuff in it. Clean that up. Okay, so the body's ready to set aside. Now I could go to work fitting this neck right now if I wanted to, but I'm going to go ahead and let it sit overnight and dry out so that I get a good fit. Get these out of the way. Like I said, I like to clean these up right away. These are my shims, and the neck fits pretty snug right now, so I can't really get in there to get my sandpaper strips and everything. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this one. This took a compound shim, by the way, meaning I had to use 2 shims. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this one off. But point is, clean these up now while the glue is wet. And that's true of tight bond or any other glue. Do it now while it's hot and gooey, and it'll come off so much easier. Okay, so that's done. Now I'm going to do all the rest of the neck set process, which I've got already detailed in another video. Nothing changes from here on. You put the neck on, you use sandpaper strips, you get the angle right. I know how much I need to take off. I need to know what to watch for on this neck. I want to add, this is not a Martin neck. This is an aftermarket neck, and it's a great neck. Nothing wrong with that, but I'm just saying the heel is a little bit different to work with, and so that's why it got me. It had a lot of glue up in here in the top. Let me get into the video. Had a lot of glue on the sides here, which affected the fit. So I cleaned all that up, and when I put it on, there was a little bit of a gap right there up at the top. So I used the strings to pull that neck in tight, which I do, you know, sometimes. And what I do is it pulls it in too tight, and so I realized that there was a little bit more slop in there than I realized, and that threw the neck angle off. And it takes almost nothing to mess up the neck angle up here at the top. I mean, it takes it's hard for me to describe how little I took off to get this on there. The neck was not on straight. It was on a little bit crooked when I put it on. I took a tiny bit off of here, refit the neck, and brings it back over. I brought a little too much, so I brought it back over here, and I just sanded it just like 5 strokes. Pop the neck back perfectly straight. So it takes very, very little movement up here at the top of the heel. Up here, very little movement to make a pretty dramatic effect in the neck. So that's what happened is I pulled the neck in a little bit too far than when I was measuring it and playing with it. So no big deal. I probably should have stuck it in the neck jig one more time to double check, and I didn't. It's my fault, you know. No big deal. I'll take it off, do it right. Guy paid me, did his guitar right. It's going to be right. So we'll see you later. Bye-bye.